Morning all. I'd like to visit a basic tactical concept this morning of the loose piece. Okay, now what I want to say about the loose piece is why do we consider loose pieces tactical vulnerabilities? You know, sometimes a loose piece can be attacked, say it's white to move here, and the loose piece moves. Okay, and there's no problem. There's no problem, is there? The loose piece just generally has a tendency to move. We can attack that loose piece and it has a tendency to move. Here there's a little bit more of a problem, and it's incurred because we're not just asking the loose piece to move, we're also double attacking something else, the king here, and actually this loose piece should really in this position go here to avoid material loss. It's lucky that the loose piece can do that, but you see that the problem of the loose piece is sometimes not in itself, not just with itself, and this is a very important consideration to make, that to try and provoke the opponent to have loose pieces, or when you have loose pieces, it's not the fact that it can, you know, you'll have the hassle of moving it if it's attacked. That's what really creates the liability with it in relation to most often double attacks, and a fork is an example of double attack, but there's other kind of tactics which might also exploit loose pieces, but fundamentally double attacks in particular is what really highlights the drastic problem of the loose piece, because you can imagine otherwise, you know, the rook could be chased all the time. If it goes here, we see the worst punishment in that square is the check here. So the loose piece in itself, it's like an if-then. You're running an if-then. If you attack it, it can move. But the thing is, when the opponent, or hopefully you, do a double attack, then you're really asking too much. It's attacked, but here, so it's check as well, and it falls off the board. So I just want to go over this. Cecil Purdy wrote this rule: never leave or place a piece loose without first looking for a possible fork or pin, and never see an enemy piece loose without doing the same. You see, that's the problem with a loose piece. I don't know how many of you have actually considered this in great detail, because otherwise you're looking at a basic if-then condition. Oh, I'll move the rook here, no big deal, it's attacked, you just move it. It's a basic if-then, but it's when it's double attacked that it reaches great significance, like here, it's double attacked. So let's go over some concrete examples from games now. I know it's basic tactical concept, but I wanted to highlight where it's really a lot more dangerous. So let's have a look at some games. 36 Olympiad, Women 2004. We had this game, so it was quite a short game. We see black having a good motive, perhaps, to pin the knight here. So we have this loose piece, and I guess if I give you a few seconds, you can see that the loose piece in itself, if it was just asked directly to move, it's no problem. You know, if we ask that piece to move with a3, if then, you know, if we attack this, move it, fine. But the problem is the double attack. There's a double attack here that white has at disposal to really emphasize the problem with the loose piece, which goes to Cecil, you know, Purdy's quotation. He was an IM and a correspondence world champion, and he wrote a lot of these fantastic tips. So basically, remember his quotation again: never leave or place a piece loose without first looking for a possible fork or pin. Well, you know, a fork is a kind of double attack, and here Queen A4 check. So although the bishop's been asked to move, it's also check, so we have a double attack. Fork is a kind of double attack, and that's it, it's dropping off the board. What can black do here? Knight c6, well, we just take it. So black is losing material. Okay, so let's look at another example. I know this is not highbrow stuff, but I just want to reinforce this concept of the loose piece. So I know Black's played this crazy opening in Dortmund 1979. D3, well, White has as well. F5 was provocative, so E4, and it kind of looks as though it's kind of a Dutch defence. Staunton Gambit, some sort of weird thing which could transpose into a Staunton Gambit. Anyway, Bishop C4. And okay, we see Knight F6, and here is a special case where the Queen you might not think is loose here, but it's only protected by the King, okay, and that can have the same kind of property. So Black played D5 here, and we saw E takes F6, and the Queen only protected by the King means again it's got this propensity to be a real problem. Not if it was asked directly by itself to move, but when there's something else going on, and so there's check, and it's too much. There's a kind of a double attack again, and it's lost. Okay, let's look at another game. And now this is one of my favourite games as far as the trap is concerned in the Marshall Gambit. I'll just show you. This was actually in a trends book, and one of my good friends, John Nader, managed to use this in a real game. Same thing. Trends in Marshall Gambit. It was a John Nunn game, 1989, against Oliver René. And White playing this thematic plan on the Queen side. He took on D5, and we see Rook takes A4. And okay, this is a loose piece. As I say, if you just ask the loose piece to move, ordinarily it will just move. But what really adds power to that and more effectiveness to make it really cruel in relation to the loose piece is the double attack. And here, can you see a spectacular double attack? Well, kind of spectacular. I thought it was pretty neat at the time when I first saw this tactic. If I give you 10 seconds starting from now, Black to play, how did John Nunn finish the game with his next move? Okay, Queen E8. A nifty retreat, a bit cheeky. It's not often seen in the Marshall retreat like this, so it's so effective, using White's thematic play on the Queen side against him for that loose piece. And it's the double attack which really, it's not just asking the piece to move. Unfortunately, that responsibility, the kind of if then, okay, if I attack this, move it, but it's the double attack which really does damage here. And in fact, Rook D6 is not possible because of Rook E1, Rook E3 is not possible, it's check, Black's winning material, end of game. So Queen E8 actually finished the game. So we start to see, Purdy's quotation really, that, you know, we can say at a basic level, loose pieces tend to fall off, but it's more interesting, I think, as well, to consider in relation to the loose piece, how a double attack really exposes the problem. I hope this is becoming crystal clear, that it's the double attack which really exploits loose pieces. Let's look at another example. Peter Liko versus Vladimir Kramnik, a high level example. Now this is more a high level blunder. It was in a rapid match though in 2007. Peter Liko playing White, and the great Vladimir Kramnik played Rook E2. Okay, and it's not a problem for the moment. I mean, it's trying to do something. It's attacking this pawn, so it's only a rapid game. But the problem is here that Vladimir remains. That rook remains there on E2, and we see a higher level kind of example now of the kind of problem that can lead to. So we have this rook on E2, and it looks as though we can't, even if we wanted to do a single attack on it, we can't actually attack this rook without losing our own rook. So we can't actually demonstrate a single attack on it, but it's the kind of double attack which is very cruel here to exploit the loose rook on E2, and the combination which Lico played, can you see the move which can potentially exploit this loose piece with a double attack? If I give you 10 seconds starting from now. Okay, rook takes g6. He's threatening actually queen h5 mate, and it calls resignation if say takes check here, and the king moves on to a light square. We have check, and we have that dreaded double attack. It's not asking just the rook to move, but it's also something else, which is really cruel, and that's what wins the game. Okay, a Gregoric game now against Tookmakov in 1975. Pardon me, in 1975. Gregoric had this. It looks nice anyway. The position. The knight at the moment looks slightly loose. It's only protected by one piece, which is still a basis for this cruel double attack element of chess in relation to loose pieces. So even you know, a piece, even if it is protected by one piece, it's kind of loose anyway. And here black played rook c8, and can you see how this was cruelly exploited in this position? If I give you 10 seconds starting from now. Okay, rook takes c8, bishop takes c8. Now if we just ask singularity, a single attack on the knight, it will just go back, no problem. The story continues. The story ends when the loose piece is the victim of a double attack, and here, can you see the double attack? I hope you can in this position. And there's actually two loose pieces here in any case. Queen c3, and it's just asking too much. There's actually a neat battery there, and c8 is loose, and Tookmakov had to resign. So we see in all these cases that ordinarily, a loose piece you might think no big deal, but it becomes a big deal, especially in longer games when these double attacks are kind of found. Not just asking ordinarily a loose piece to move away, like in this example. A loose piece could move away. Here's another example, an artificial construction. And okay, we're asking the rook to move away, and say okay, white to move. Okay, let's just start from here. Black to move. If we ask the rook to move away, it's usually not going to be a problem. Where does it become a problem? Okay, just to demonstrate more clearly. I mean, here Queen e4 is almost putting black in great jeopardy because it's threatening mate and the rook, but there's rook g6. But imagine, if we had this situation where the rook was more awkwardly placed. Let's just put the rook here for the sake of arguments. Then the double attack is just absolutely winning more material. So I am hoping this video greatly emphasizes a particular aspect of the loose piece, which you might not have appreciated the power of the quotation of Cecil Purdy. So I'm going to repeat that just again in conclusion. Never leave or place a piece loose without first looking for a possible fork or pin. So a fork is a type of double attack. And never see an enemy piece loose without doing the same. Okay, so I hope this benefits players of all strengths, from naught to whatever, and even for experienced players it's a good reminder, because I've blundered recently with loose pieces, hence the reason for this video. Bit of therapy for myself, but I hope it might help anyone on YouTube. Just think a little bit more carefully when you leave pieces loose. It's not because of the if-then condition. If it gets attacked, you can move it. You can't always rely on that. The point where you can't rely on that is where there's a double attack. So you can't rely on the ability to just move it, because sometimes you'll just get mated, sometimes you'll just lose other material. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.